a woman stumbles upon a shocking discovery. Her husband, who always seems so honest and simple, has secretly fallen for their 80-year-old landlady. Her mind goes completely blank. This old woman already has one foot in the grave. The wife stands frozen in place, as if struck by lightning. Before she can even process the horror of what she's seeing, her husband charges at her and knocks her out cold with a single punch. When she comes to, she finds herself tied up tight. Her husband and the old landlady are actually being affectionate with each other. But what's even more bone-chilling is that in the mirror, her husband appears as a white-haired old man. So what on earth is going on here? Let's rewind to the moment Mickey divorced her husband. He developed a mental illness, muttering nonsense all day and driving her crazy. So for her son's sake, she decisively chose divorce and married her boss. Afraid of her ex-husband stalking them, the family moved to a remote small town. The house they settled into was an old villa that had clearly seen better days. A bit rundown, sure, but spacious, quiet, and the rent was unbelievably cheap. But there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. A cheap house always has its reasons for being cheap. On their very first day, a kind-looking old lady came by to introduce herself. She claimed the homeowner had entrusted her to look after the place for 35 years. She lived in the back house and maintained the garden. Mickey looked at this warm, friendly old woman and felt comforted. Having a helpful neighbor watching over things would make life much easier. The next day, her son Ike was playing hide and seek with the neighbor's kid. Looking for a better hiding spot, he opened a locked door inside the villa. Once inside, he noticed a cellar hatch in the floor. Driven by a child's natural curiosity, he pulled open the latch. The next second, Ike fell straight down. When he woke from unconsciousness, Ike found the cellar packed with junk, dark and damp with a musty smell. Among all that clutter, the most eye-catching thing was a massive mirror covered with a white cloth. His playful nature got the better of him, and he walked up and yanked the cloth off. But as he made funny faces at the mirror, his reflection suddenly made a terrifying movement on its own. This scared Ike so badly he passed out. Fortunately, his parents had just come home from work and heard his screams. They rushed into the cellar and carried him out. But Ike remained in a semi-conscious state, unresponsive no matter how they tried to wake him. The couple was worried sick. With no other choice, Jack asked the old lady next door to help watch over Ike, since both of them still had to work during the day. That night, something strange happened. Ike suddenly sat bolt upright in his sleep and walked outside like a sleepwalker. Even creepier, the old lady was standing downstairs, seemingly guiding him to follow her. In the middle of the night, Jack got up to use the bathroom and discovered his son was gone. Terrified something had happened, he rushed downstairs and heard eerie piano sounds coming from the living room. Following the sound, in the dim light, he saw Ike sitting blankly in front of the piano, banging his head against the keys over and over. Completely unconscious, Jack quickly shielded his son's head, then had Mickey carry Ike back to the bedroom. After they left, Jack noticed a strange drawing on the piano. It depicted a house, a tree, and a black sun. Notably, Ike had also drawn that large mirror he'd seen earlier. Seeing Ike's interest in the mirror, Jack called some workers the next day to move it from the cellar to the living room. Mickey was baffled. She asked Jack why he'd bring such a huge mirror upstairs. "It's just in the way." But Jack acted like he didn't hear her, directing the workers to position it. The old lady chimed in too, saying the mirror looked nice and would make a perfect decoration for the living room. Mickey felt uneasy, but with both her husband and the neighbor insisting, she let it go. In the nights that followed, Mickey had nightmare after nightmare. In the first one, she found herself sleeping outdoors in the wilderness. Her bed moved to a mountaintop. When she woke up on the bed, she saw an unfamiliar mother and her two daughters playing nearby. The youngest girl ran toward the mirror and passed right through it. When Mickey turned back, the other mother and daughter had vanished. Overcome with curiosity, she got out of bed to investigate. Suddenly, a young woman's figure flashed in the mirror, eyes fierce and hostile. The figure thrust her hand through the mirror's surface and grabbed Mickey by the throat. The real sensation of suffocation left her terrified. The constant nightmares left Mickey mentally exhausted. She went to the bathroom to splash water on her face, hoping to clear her head, but the bathroom light started flickering, then shattered on its own. Mickey saw a small figure run past. Thinking it was Ike, she chased after it, only to hear her son's voice coming from inside the mirror. She turned around and saw him actually trapped inside. Just as she was frantically smashing the mirror, she suddenly jolted awake. It was a dream within a dream. Still shaken, Mickey searched the house for her son. She heard the sound of a rocking chair from the living room. Following the noise, she found the old lady holding her sleeping son, rocking in the chair, eyes fixed unblinkingly on Mickey. Mickey's heart skipped a beat, but she said nothing and quickly took her son back upstairs. The next day, Mickey felt more and more that something was wrong with that mirror. She went to examine it again. This time she heard muffled sounds from within. "Don't trust that man." Then, terrifyingly, a string of letters appeared on the mirror's surface out of thin air. No matter how hard Mickey wiped, they wouldn't come off. They seemed to be written from inside the mirror. This scared her so badly she fled the house and went to wait for Ike outside his school. But her ex-husband was also there waiting for their son. To break the awkward tension and ease her own fear, Mickey told him about the letters she'd seen in the mirror. She even showed him a photo. Her ex initially thought she was mocking him, but seeing the photo, he took it seriously. He wrote the letters on a pillar and studied them like a puzzle. Eventually he cracked it. The letters were an anagram. The answer was a name. Vera. Mickey was completely confused. She had no idea who Vera was. Then she suddenly remembered seeing a girl who'd bought an old book with symbols identical to those on the mirror. She followed the girl to a cafe and got straight to the point, telling her about all the strange things happening with the mirror. The girl's expression turned complicated. Her name was Ella. She said she'd once lived in that very house. When Ella went abroad to study, she left her mother and sister there. Things were fine at first. Her sister even got a boyfriend and was planning to get married. But every time her sister called after that, she sounded worse and worse, constantly saying there was something evil in the mirror. By the time Ella rushed home, all she found were the cold bodies of her mother and sister. Her sister's boyfriend had vanished without a trace. He didn't even attend their funeral. Even more disturbing, when Mickey looked at the family photo of the three of them, she spotted the old lady lurking in the background, watching. Mickey borrowed the old book from Ella to study at home, only to find that a crucial page about the mirror was missing. She immediately guessed the missing page might be hidden in the old lady's house. While the old lady was out, Mickey crept inside to search. Her persistence paid off. She found the missing content in a cabinet. The text clearly stated that this mirror was no ordinary object. It could imprison human souls. On the night of a lunar eclipse, the mirror's gateway would open. Through an ancient witchcraft ritual, two people's souls and bodies could be exchanged. As long as you were willing to become the mirror's follower and draw a young girl's soul into it, you could complete the body transfer and gain eternal life. This discovery made Mickey's blood run cold. The previous tenant, Ella's sister, must have died because of the old lady. But when Mickey got home, no matter how she tried to warn Jack about the old lady's evil, no matter how she explained those horrifying discoveries, Jack flat out refused to believe her. He looked annoyed, dismissing it all as Mickey overthinking things. His coldness was chilling. The old lady apparently heard their argument through the wall. She dropped all pretense, walked in with a broad smile, and invited Mickey over for a chat. She said there were things she wanted to discuss. That smile looked worse than crying to Mickey, more terrifying than a ghost. Despite every nerve screaming at her to refuse, Mickey needed to understand the full picture for her and her son's safety. She steeled herself and went. The moment they sat down, the old lady dropped all masks. An eerie smirk crept across her wrinkled face. She brought up Ella's sister casually, as if discussing something trivial. Ella's sister died because she refused to cooperate with the body transfer ritual. In the old lady's perfect plan, the ritual would proceed smoothly on the night of the lunar eclipse. Her soul would transfer into a young, beautiful body, granting her a brand new life and eternal youth. Ella's sister's soul would be sealed forever in that cold mirror, becoming just another tormented spirit among countless others. But what the old lady never expected was that at the critical moment of the ritual, the girl suddenly jolted awake and fought back desperately. In her panic, afraid of being exposed, the old lady had no choice but to kill her. She ended Ella's sister's young life with her own hands. As for Ella's mother, she was silenced for discovering the secret. This evil, blood-curdling confession made Mickey's skin crawl. She wanted to flee immediately, but when she rushed to the door, she found it had been quietly locked. To escape, Mickey summoned incredible strength and shoved the frail old lady hard to the ground, then frantically unlocked the door and burst out. She stumbled out of the back house and happened to run into Jack pulling into the driveway. Seeing her husband, Mickey clung to him like a drowning person grabbing a lifeline. Gasping for breath, she begged him to drive them home immediately. She needed to get Ike and flee this place full of demons. But back at the house, Mickey tore through every room like a madwoman. The closets, under the beds, the storage room. Ike was nowhere to be found. Her son's disappearance made her heart sink deeper and deeper. Then the doorbell rang. The old lady's terrible face peered through the glass in the door. Looking inside, Mickey desperately begged Jack not to open it. Her voice trembled with fear. Tears streamed down her face, but Jack acted as if he couldn't hear her at all. Expressionless, eyes hollow, he walked straight over and opened the door. What happened next dealt Mickey a devastating blow. Before she could process the horror, Jack charged at her and punched her unconscious. Mickey's vision went black and she lost all consciousness, and Ike saw everything. The truth was that this gentle, honest, seemingly ordinary Jack was no normal person at all. He was the old lady's supposedly dead husband, the evil spirit named Vera. He had found a young, handsome body to inhabit even before the old lady did, and he was none other than Ella's sister's mysteriously vanished fiancé. Tonight happened to be the rare lunar eclipse. He had to complete the ritual for his wife. Learning that her loving husband was actually a cold-blooded demon shattered Mickey's heart. Tears poured down uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Ike, having just witnessed his stepfather attack his mother, was hiding on top of the wardrobe in his room, gripping his phone with trembling little hands, secretly calling his biological father for help. Fortunately, his father arrived in time. Ike shakily pressed the old book his mother had left into his father's hands. The man flipped through rapidly and found the crucial page. On the night of the lunar eclipse, when the moon is fully consumed by darkness, the mirror's surface melts under the moonlight, becoming a mysterious gateway. To enter the mirror world to save someone or complete a body transfer, one must enter at this moment. To interrupt the ritual and kill the caster, one must plunge a rune-inscribed dagger into their chest at the key moment of the incantation. The ex-husband instantly understood the danger within the mirror. He held his son tight and urged him to find somewhere absolutely safe to hide outside. No matter what sounds he heard, don't come out. After their brief, heavy goodbye embrace, the ex-husband took a deep breath, gripped the dagger, summoned every ounce of courage he had, and walked step by step toward the mirror glowing with its eerie light. The moment his fingertips touched the cold surface, the mirror melted like water under the moonlight. Rippling, without hesitation, he stepped through. What greeted him was a bizarre, sinister cave world. The air reeked of decay. The ritual was taking place in the deepest part of the cave. Mickey was bound tightly to a cold stone slab, eyes full of despair. Vera and the old lady followed the ancient ritual steps, using a sharp dagger to slice open Mickey's wrist together. Crimson blood flowed out, dripping into 2 prepared cups. The old lady picked up 1 cup, tilted her head back and drank greedily, her face twisting with satisfaction. Then she pried open Mickey's mouth and forced the other cup of blood mixed with enchanted spells down her throat. At the same time, she began chanting the ancient, evil incantation. Mickey's soul was being painfully torn from her body bit by bit, hidden behind a rock. The ex-husband watched this horrifying scene, drenched in sweat and shaking all over. Just as he was at a loss for what to do, a small figure quietly followed him in. It was Ike. The boy had his toy slingshot gripped tightly in his hand, while the 2 demons were fully focused on the ritual. He took aim at the old lady's head and fired. The stone hit her perfectly right at the corner of her eye. The old lady let out a shriek, clutching her eye and staggering back. Blood seeped between her fingers. The incantation stopped dead. The exchange ritual was forcibly interrupted. The ex-husband seized this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He burst from his hiding spot, grabbed the limp Mickey, and screamed at her to run. But Vera reacted lightning fast, pouncing from behind like a starving wolf, dragging the ex-husband back. The 3 of them tangled in a desperate struggle. On their way out, mother and son encountered ghosts trapped in the mirror world for countless years, all of them innocent victims killed by Vera and the old lady. Seeing real ghosts up close for the first time caused Mickey to lose her footing. She tumbled down a slope clutching her son. At the same time, the relentless old lady grabbed Ike from behind. Just as she raised her dagger high, aiming for Ike's chest, the battered ex-husband arrived just in time. He threw himself at the old lady with his last ounce of strength, pinning her down, hoarsely screaming for Mickey to run, to take the child and get out of this hellhole. Despite every fiber of her being not wanting to leave him, for her son's sake, she scooped up Ike and sprinted with everything she had toward the mirror gate that was about to close. At the very last second, mother and son burst through the mirror and collapsed onto the floor of the real world. After escaping the mirror, Mickey lay crumpled on the floor gasping for air. Memories of her and her ex-husband flooded back. How they met, fell in love, separated, and now this life or death rescue. She broke down sobbing uncontrollably. Just when she thought she'd never see him again, the mirror's surface rippled once more. Her ex-husband, covered in blood, crawled out of the mirror. The instant their eyes met, emotions erupted like a volcano. They stumbled into each other's arms, both crying. In the days that followed, everything seemed to return to normal. The family of 3 was finally free from the cursed mirror. Mickey let go of the past and agreed to reunite with her ex-husband. But gradually, a strange feeling crept into Mickey's heart. Her husband's behavior grew increasingly odd, increasingly unfamiliar and unsettling. His little mannerisms, his tone of voice, even the look in his eyes bore a disturbing resemblance to the demon Vera. At the story's end, Ella showed up at their door. With a grave expression, she handed Mickey a yellowed old photograph. It was a picture of her sister with a man. That man was unmistakably Jack, the one who had approached her sister posing as her fiancé. Vera. Mickey's mind raced back through all her husband's strange behavior in recent days. Combined with this undeniable proof Ella brought, a thought so terrifying she didn't dare dwell on it exploded in her mind. The husband she'd been living with, sharing a bed with every night, was he still the same man who risked his life to save her? That's all for today's movie. Thanks for watching.